Namaskar. In our last video, we have discussed about 4 Sanskars. That is the first 4 Sanskars. In this video, we will discuss the other Sanskars followed after that. So the 5th Sanskar is Naamkaran Sanskaar. Already in our last video, we have discussed that name is always given to a soul, which syllable sound, if we whisper it to or we call our child in that name, that sound will vibrate more in the brain. So these all things we have discussed in our last video. In this Naamkaran Sanskar always happens on the 11th day of the childbirth. But why on the 11th day? Today, medical science also says that the first 10 days is very crucial for the child. If the child is having any kind of congenital abnormalities or RH factor compatibility or any medical complications, then these 10 days are very vital, very challenging for the child. But once the child has completed successfully 10 days of life in this earth, then 11th day the child comes to a phase of normalcy. That's why our ancestors had that knowledge, and that's why they have kept a sanskar on the 11th day. One more thing, that when the numbers from 0 to 9, these are all single digit number. We live in a Milky Way, or we live in a solar system where we are having or we are surrounded by another 8 planets, and when we speak about the something which is away from the galaxy, then from there our count started, that is 10, because in our scriptures they have mentioned Shunya, that is 0, as Brahma, that is the which has no beginning and no end, because today science also says that universe is so big. That's why all these numbers from 0 to 9, it is within our system. But when the number 10 came, they thought of assigning symbol 0 and 1, and then come the number 10. So when the number 11, where 1 is the mirror image, or we can see it is the reflection of the another one number. So these two numbers, the number 11 is very important, and it is having a reflection of number 1. So how much reflection, mirror image, opposite is important for us already, if we have discussed in almost all of our videos. So the Naamkaran Sanskar happens on the 11th day of the childbirth. So the child gets a new name on the 11th day. So when on this Naamkaran Sanskar, they usually call a guru or a father. It is not because of any gender biasm, but it is only because of the Y chromosome, what is where makes the male fraternity unique from the female fraternity. And also, whenever we see ourselves, if we are a male member or we are a female member, then looking to the physiology or to the physical structure of our body, we will see certain components which is contributing towards us as a male or a female. Then for the male, the right hand side is bigger, and for the female, the left hand side is the bigger. So in general, it is always, now science has also come up, then 10% of the male brain is larger in size compared to female. It is only the matter of size, not the intelligence quotient. So that's why when on this Naamkaran Sanskaar, they have come up that the father or the guru should whisper the sound on the right hand, that is the right ear of the child, irrespective of the gender. Because when we are talking about that the child should have good cognitive brain, then definitely we are more focusing on the right hand side ear. Right ear, irrespective of the gender, whenever the sound flows to the right ear, the sound energy is being converted into an electrical signal. That electrical signal is being interpreted by the left brain, and the signal from the inner ear to the left brain reaches faster compared to left brain, and the left brain is the natural language processing center for us. So that's why our ancestors had that knowledge, and they always initiated that whenever they on this Naamkaran Sanskaar, the father and the guru should whisper the first syllable sound of the name in the right ear. Is that why in every temple, maybe a Ganesha temple or a Shiva temple, in the entrance there will be a Mushak or a Nandi, and one bell will be above that. The arrangement was made in such a way that as soon as we enter to the temple, we should be very conscious. And how will we know that we are conscious? When the bell is rung and we are conscious about it. So there is a tradition that when you go to any temple, our elders will always say that try to whisper whatever you have in your mind in the right ear of the Mushak or Nandi. So this all rituals, tradition, everything was made only so that we human beings should be conscious about our Gyanendriyas and our Karmendriyas when we are using this human body to lead a beautiful life, and we should be conscious in our man, buddhi, chitta, intellect when we want our spiritual growth as a soul. So everything was only and only for the betterment of the human beings. So whenever nowadays everybody are so fascinated with natural language processing, artificial intelligence, so I have a small question. Whenever a human being is being exposed to a challenge or any problem statement, if that brain is intelligent, then definitely that brain will come up with a solution to the problem statement, irrespective of whether that human being was being exposed to any bandwidth of that same kind of problems before. But whatever we are calling today as an artificial intelligence systems, it all depends on the data and the algorithms through which we are trying to retrieve the data, make it as an information, and then we give it as an output. So should we call it as an artificial intelligence system, or we should call it as artificial educated system?
When we asked ChatGPT to give us an image of a human being writing in left hand, can you see it has given us an image writing in right hand? So we are working towards artificial intelligence, or we have worked towards artificial educated system, because artificial educated system all depends upon the training data, and natural intelligence, even artificial intelligence coping up to natural intelligence, will take lot of time.
So we need to think and try to reiterate the concept of what we are now all of us are so much fascinated about, artificial intelligence. So let's coming back to the topic. So the Naamkaran Sanskaar, it was happening always on the 11th day. So that makes the child very aware that that sound will start vibrating in the brain of the child, so that because ear and the skin are the first sense organ which is being prepared when we are in our mother's womb. As we also know, once we are dead, when the corpse is lying in our home, the elders in our home will always tell that please try to whisper the name of the Almighty and in the right ear of the corpse. As we know, anything, whatever is happening within our body, it is always in a very slow and in a rhythmic process. It is nothing like a very abrupt, sudden changes doesn't happen in our body. So the way all our sense organs have got activated in our mother's womb, similarly as we die, all our sense organs sensitiveness will also fade away slowly and gradually. So the last sense organ which gets fade away from us when we are dead also, it is our ear. That's why our elders will always say that try to whisper the name of the Almighty for the corpse also. So that's why whenever we think of our Indian traditions, it is a kind request to the youth to think it from the scientific point of view also. Our sixth sanskar is Nishkramaan Sanskaar. In this sanskar happens when the child has completed good amount of sleep in this 3 months of duration. Generally they say when a child is born, if you have seen a child very carefully and consciously, most of the time the child's eye will be closed and child will be having a good deep sleep. So it is always advised that the first 3 months, or as we know, every child is unique and different. So we should observe it carefully. The child is sleeping very peacefully for certain first 3 months of time. As soon as you see there are certain communication from the child to us, maybe in terms of the child's sleep pattern, he is changing, the child is opening for more number of minutes for the child's eyes and all, and that is the time when we should start the Nishkramaan Sanskaar for the child. Nishkramaan Sanskaar, if we take it in general, it happens on the 4th month of the child. And during this phase, all the sense organs, the Gyanendriyas and the Karmendriyas are ready to meet the Mahapanchabhuta, that is the 5 natural elements. So that's why our ancestors said, now the sense organs are already ready. The child is willing herself or himself to interact, to go out, and is opening the eyes, making some kind of eye contact with the parent or the family members. So this is the time to take out the baby to the environment, that is the mother nature. So when the child is out to the environment, to the mother nature, they called it as a Nishkramaan Sanskaar. So whenever there is a Nishkramaan Sanskaar happens, they took it as a tradition of bringing the child to the mother nature. So how to do? All the 5 natural elements will trigger all the 5 Gyanendriyas, and simultaneously all the Karmendriyas, whatever knowledge is being received through our Gyanendriyas, being processed by this brain, and through the Karmendriyas, it should again give back to the nature, thereby bringing balance to this human brain and to the soul. So they thought of making it a ritual of doing this tradition in temples. So whenever the child goes out for the first time, everybody will call child with his or her name. So name is already vibrating in his or her brain after Naamkaran Sanskaar. So when the child receives the name, the child tries to make the eye contact. So the ear is working fine. The child tries to move the head like this. That makes the neck portion ready, and the child tries to communicate. The communication starts through the Gyanendriyas and the Karmendriyas. So all the motor skills, all the different kind of skills which nowadays we are taking to a therapy centers, the child start making it as soon as the child is being exposed to Mother Nature, all the 5 natural elements. I have made series of videos that we should avoid diapers for our children. That is the point where we need to think, because our child's genital organs are the karmendriyas for our children. So that's why it is a very important factor for all of us to understand, we as a parent, that these sanskars are being designed only and only for the betterment of our child. When the child is going to a temple, there is a ritual of performing yajna at the temple. Yajna means when the fire component touches the ground. Nowadays, we are also doing yajna, but in a closed environment with AC on, and even the fire component is not touching the ground also. So, it is we have to remind ourselves that whenever we are trying to perform yajna, then it should be with the Mahapanchabhuta, that is all the 5 natural elements should act like a catalyst, so that this yajna, the purpose with which this yajna was being performed, should be achieved by us. So when the child hears all the mantras, all the sounds, all the Sanskrit syllables during the yajna, the fire component, the sky component, the water component, and at the end of the yajna they used to give one fruit, then at each yajna there is ghee. So this all things, when that air goes as an inhalation for the child, that makes the child completely ready to meet the life circumstances in his or her near future. So that's why we have already discussed all the 4 sanskars. In this video, we have discussed another 2 sanskars, that is Naamkaran Sanskaar and Nishkramaan Sanskaar. So these 2 sanskar are also very important, and the other sanskars we will be continuing it. Jai Bharat.